Welcome to Market Pulse Pros and Pioneers. Each week, I talk with industry leaders on both marketing and entrepreneurship and business to find out all about their wins and failures in marketing right now. We'll hear all about successes and wins and what's fallen flat so that you can take that knowledge and implement it. Learn from the best, from the folks who've been there and done it all, as well as people just like you. Thanks for joining us. This is Market Pulse Pros and Pioneers.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Market Pulse Pros and Pioneers podcast. I'm joined today by one of our earlier guests in the series, Chris Reeve. Chris, lovely to have you back again.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul.
And today's episode is a bit of a deep dive, right? It's a special edition of the Market Pulse podcast because we speak to a lot of exciting and interesting people. And we love to talk to our marketing experts who've got a deep knowledge. And the feedback I had from the first episode with Chris was absolutely unreal. I loved it. It's nice to get that kind of engaging conversation from people who are blown away by the passion that you have for the social media side of digital marketing. And what we wanted to discuss on this episode was blowing the lid off LinkedIn. This is neither of us trying to be LinkedIn coaches or trainers or any of those things, but looking at it from the perspective of there are still, as you pointed out before the show, Chris, a ton of people who are itching to find business on LinkedIn, but don't have the first clue on how to start and are probably, if I'm fair, petrified by if somebody was to come across my profile first as they were starting out on LinkedIn, they'd be mortified at how much content I put out. And I don't want people to think that's normal. I'm not normal. Without further ado, let's get under the bones of this. Chris, for somebody who has never posted on LinkedIn, what should they be thinking about to get themselves moving forward?
I think it's a great starting question, Paul. And I'm sure later on we'll go into the mindset side of things, which is huge when it comes to LinkedIn, especially video content for LinkedIn, which we're doing a deep dive on today. And I think it is important, though, to add that if you've not posted before, it's okay, because it's something crazy like 85% of LinkedIn users are LinkedIn lurkers, what I've coined. And it's then really important to understand that actually just by doing something, you're already going to be better than the majority of not only your peers, but your competition. So just be all right with the fact that you've not done anything just yet. And I think I just really wanted to hammer home the why and the importance of this, Paul, to open up. LinkedIn right now is Facebook in 2011. Right now is what Facebook was in 2011, right? And what that means is it's easier to grow your page now than it ever has been before. And the medium and the creative and the tool that you use to achieve that is LinkedIn video. Many of you would have already seen it. If you haven't clocked it already, I'll be quite surprised. But if you haven't, if you go on your mobile LinkedIn app now and you scroll down, you'll notice that there is a new vertical video feed in LinkedIn. Appears horizontally, and then you click on it, and then it opens up full page, and it looks like TikTok, right? So the guys at LinkedIn have realized, God damn, we're losing so much attention to TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. We need this, right? This is classic social media platform moves. Now, this is just even more of a reason why you have to be trying, testing, failing with your video content, especially if you're a key person of influence for your sector. And actually, regardless of even if you deem yourself a key person of influence for your sector or not, you must make advantage of this opportunity now. Please start now, because I know for a fact that so many people will not listen to this. And then in 5 years' time, they'll be like, damn, I wish I listened to that Chris Reeve guy on the Market Pulse podcast, because he told me to take advantage of the ridiculous organic reach, which for those that don't understand means without putting paid budget behind it. The organic reach on LinkedIn now is only second to TikTok, right? But TikTok's pushing your content in front of all sorts of random people, right? Whereas your LinkedIn reach, this is the one for you to delve into. So I just wanted to kick off the conversation, Paul, without torpedoing your question with that.
Yeah, because video. I don't want to do video. I can't even post on LinkedIn yet. What's going on? It's true though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. So many people are challenged by that. But I promise you with the reps, if you liken it to, if any of your audience gym goes or fitness goes, they'll understand the power of repetition, doing the reps, hitting that publish button. And I promise you the benefits of that are absolutely huge, regardless of what you're talking about. I'm seeing a real shift Paul, on LinkedIn, from this corporate, polished, let's be honest, quite boring world to personable, authentic, inspiring. And that comes from people doing video content about their personal beliefs, their personal values, their personal challenges, their personal story, not necessarily what the business is doing. So even for the people that have got, and I wouldn't necessarily say writer's block, I'd say video block.
Yeah.
This is even more of a reason why you need to start this as soon as possible.
Content block. I think I was talking with a good friend of mine, Heidi Medina, on the show last week, and Heidi was talking about the power of just being more human in conversations on LinkedIn. So we had a good conversation about how you reach people through direct messages, how you stop sounding so salesy and pitchy, and just think about the thought that, would you say this to someone in real life? Because if you wouldn't, why would you say it on social media at all? And why is LinkedIn any different? And we seem to have this huge gap between LinkedIn and all the other social platforms. And I think there is one, if I'm fair, because LinkedIn's the only one that I like. Everything else is horrible. It's full of trolls and horrible people and negativity. And like, I'm sorry for anybody who loves Facebook. And it drains me, right? So LinkedIn is my home. I love LinkedIn and I have a fab audience and network. But it is, to your point, done are the days when you needed to be a dinosaur who just posted photos of themselves at a conference. Here's what I ate at the conference. Here's what we ate on the nighttime meal. Here's a photo of the awards on the stage. That's all great and well. I am not saying don't post that stuff, because you should be uploading those social events. But there's so much more to you. Share beyond that, right? Dig deep and show some vulnerability. And I think that the key message for me for LinkedIn for 2024 is think about how you'd lead a team in person. If you're a leader, most people are who are on LinkedIn. You've led a team in real life. How would you lead those people? And how have you done that? What stories would you share with them in real life? Treat LinkedIn very similar. Fair?
And to further validate that, and I will positively challenge you or disagree with you, in other words, if appropriate, but that is totally right. The more you are, the better, more impactful, and more people your content will reach, right? It's the most important thing. People are still living in this world of they need to read a script, it needs to be robotic, they need to say every detail. And actually, I can firsthand tell you on behalf of myself and also my clients who are not just local, but national and international. And the more relaxed, the more is if you were just having a conversation with perhaps a family member or a really close friend. The more real, the more you, the more, dare I say, informal you are, the more impactful, more believable, and more trustworthy your content is. And the whole point of social is to speed up the process between prospect and client, prospect and customer. And you can do that by increasing trust using LinkedIn. And the number one piece of content, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on a podcast with you, Paul, I promise you, is video, because we are, I'm going to rant now. We are in this AI, fake, dodgy, roboty world where people are using Chat GPT and like, that is it. Like they're just throwing out copy-based content. And again, it's okay. You've got to start somewhere. I get that. But that's why the real winners, the real people that are absolutely smashing it right now are going more than they're being more authentic. They're being vulnerable. They're not reading off scripts, and scripts are okay, but just try and present it in a relaxed fashion. And I can promise you it will pay off. The other thing, of course, Paul, as well, which so many people don't know, I'm not sure if I'm just taking over your podcast now, mate. People don't realize that you can send video messages, right? Rather than text-based messages when you're trying to connect with new partners, affiliates, clients, forge new relationships. Send a personalized video message. You will increase your response rates. They will go absolutely through the roof. You can continue to just get ChatGPT to type out some generic content and fling it around and machine gun it. I promise you, if you try that today, I can make a stonewall guarantee that your response rates will increase hugely.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because literally before the summer holidays, so back in beginning of July, late June, I had a bit of a competition because somebody said to me like, oh, direct messages on LinkedIn, they don't work for lead generation anymore. You've got to send thousands in order to think. And I picked 4 people over the course of a week. Granted, right, a lot of people want to reach far more than 4 people, right? But this is the way people, right, your pipeline, your sales pipeline thought process is broken, right? If that's the way you think you need to go. And Todd Capone, who we had on the show before, is a big believer in this, in that we build our pipelines around assuming we're not going to reach 75%, 80% of the people that we reach out to. So we've got to have that volume in the first place. But if we're going to reach out to that volume, we can't personalize that. We can't do it manually. So we have to automate that. And that automation then creates the lack of connection, which creates the conversion rate that we see. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Spit it on its head. I made 4 outreach messages to 4 separate people, 4 very different industries, 3 different countries. All 4 of them booked a meeting with me within a week.
That's amazing.
And I spent 30 seconds on each message.
Really?
30 seconds.
Wow. Amazing.
And granted, I have a lot of practice. I do a lot of this. I do know what works and what doesn't. But I was also just looking at their profile. It was very simple. When I looked at their profiles, there was a natural connection there. I used that connection, created a message. Oh, I see that you know this person who I know very well. Or I see that you're interested in this, and I'm very passionate about that. But you've got to be genuine about those things. Right? I've tried to do the fake thing. It comes unstuck very quickly because you can't talk in depth about it.
Yeah, I'm so with you, Paul. It pays to go above and beyond. And people are trying to cut corners, right? And it's okay as a phase 1, but it will pay huge dividends if you create a personalized video, the message that takes you 30 seconds. But if you want to win the business, that is the way to go. And I know that was a tangent, video messages on private messages. You can send voice notes as well, which are
love a voice
also
note.
powerful. They're not as powerful as video though, Paul, but they're still a good phase 1 for people to just get practicing with. So apologies to overtake there, but I just really wanted to say to people, even if they don't want to post something publicly, start using video content of yourself being authentic at your desk, wherever you are in the world, and sending it to your partners, your affiliates, your clients, your colleagues, and your response rates will be exceptional.
So let's play a game, right? This is not so, you're not going to wake up strapped to no, let's not go there. So we are, right, let's assume that I'm sat on LinkedIn. I've been part of LinkedIn for a while. I've now started my own business. I want to reach people. I see people being successful on LinkedIn. I'm a bit jealous. I don't have a clue where to start. And I want to share my business. Just launched my business. I'm really excited about it. I want to share with them all of the amazing things that I do. Where do I start, Chris? Hi, and thanks for joining us for the show. I'm Paul, founder here at Javelin Content Management. We specialize in getting ideas out of your head, down into video, and out to your social media through repurposing and efficient content strategies. If you want to find out how you can convert your ideal audience into paying customers, reach out to us, javelincontent.com, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
Pick up this instrument. You might be familiar with it.
Person. You don't need to do any selling. You don't need to be great at sales. You just need to be sociable. It's in the name, right?
Bravo. You may as well just be doing a solo podcast.
Sorry, Chris. But this is why we wanted to do a deep dive, because Chris and I got into this offline and we were like so super passionate about, we just want to help people who aren't already active on social media to get to that first point, because that leads into both of our roles eventually. But the point is, there are so many people that are missing opportunities on LinkedIn that I wish I could do more to help more people. I couldn't do any more than I do to give away the secrets and tips. And Chris is exactly the same. You're fantastic in your knowledge on, it goes way beyond my knowledge of LinkedIn even.
Thank you, mate. That's very kind. If there's just one takeaway from this conversation, people need to post their first LinkedIn video. That's the point of this podcast, all right? This opportunity is going to go away, because the more that people do it, the more ads that will appear, and the more LinkedIn will end up like X, like Facebook, etc. This is the evolution, the cycle of all social platforms. Please take advantage of LinkedIn video right now, please. And if you need any help, you know where myself and Paul are. And I know that you said don't plug me, Chris, but Paul seriously is incredible at what he does. He's helped me profoundly with my own podcast and my business process. Oh, someone's ringing me. Let's quickly hang up on them. So there you go. That's authentic for you.
It's genuine. This is real life, unscripted. Right.
Wait a minute.
And we will, for everybody who's watching this, if you've enjoyed this episode, one, if you haven't already heard it, go back and watch Chris's first episode I will put the link in the podcast notes, in the description notes if it's on YouTube, so you'll be able to find that. But more importantly, subscribe, because we are going to come back and do a round 3. We're going to do another special edition in a little while. I'm not going to give it away yet, in a little while. And we're going to talk about how you get into the right mindset to create the right content and come at things from the right angle to be successful on LinkedIn. And it's the other crucial piece to putting together content with the right mindset makes you win. You've got to believe in it and you've got to see it for yourself. So I'm really excited about sharing that with everyone, Chris. It's going to be a phenomenal conversation. I'm done now. I need to lie down. That's brilliant. I've enjoyed that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'll see everyone next time.
See you later, and I'll see you on MarketPulse Pros and Pioneers next week.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to feature on a future show, or you've got some ideas for folks who would make a great guest, please drop us a line. Contact details are in the show notes, and I'd love to hear from you. Your host today was me, Paul Banks, founder at Javelin Content Management. Here at Javelin, we specialise in helping busy business owners just like you to repurpose video content, taking all the stress and tech problems away and turning your long-form video into literally hundreds of pieces of content without breaking the bank. We describe it as getting ideas out of your head, into video and out to your socials. If you want to launch your personal brand, become the vendor of choice for your audience, or maximise your sales revenue impact, we'd love to hear from you. Join us next Wednesday for the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe and give us a review. Our podcast is only possible with your continued support.